Welcome to Wild Rizz. I am Sir Nigel Wingman, naturalist, observer, veteran of countless romantic catastrophes. Here we study elite game, disastrous game, rejection trauma, tactical delusion, and relationship strategy in the animal kingdom. Humans often believe modern dating is difficult. You send the first message. You wait precisely 43 minutes before replying. You analyze emojis as though preparing a CIA psychological profile. Perhaps you are ghosted entirely. Meanwhile, in nature, one bird constructs an entire luxury property for a single opportunity. One insect risks being eaten alive. One deer enters full combat mode. And one penguin attempts to seduce a female with a pebble. And somehow, every single one of these strategies makes evolutionary sense. Nature can be savage, but it is rarely inefficient. Let us begin. Number 1, the Bowerbird, the interior designer of desperation. If nature ever created a reality show called Extreme Home Makeover Bird Edition, the bowerbird would dominate every season. The male bowerbird is famous for one remarkable behavior. He builds elaborate decorative structures known as bowers, specifically to attract females. Now, an important clarification. This is not a nest. He is not building a family home. No. This is essentially a romantic showroom, a luxury display suite, an architectural thirst trap, a high-risk emotional investment portfolio. Imagine purchasing a penthouse solely to host one highly stressful first date. And the truly magnificent part? After mating, the female usually leaves and builds the actual nest somewhere else entirely, which means this male has invested days or even weeks into what is effectively a temporary experience center. Legendary commitment. Depending on species, the bower may consist of carefully arranged stick tunnels, hut-like structures, decorated courts, or elaborate artistic displays. And then, the real madness begins. He decorates it with berries, flowers, beetle wings, feathers, shells, bones, bottle caps, pieces of plastic. Essentially anything shiny enough to trigger female interest. Some species become obsessed with specific colors, especially blue. At this point, the male has evolved into an emotionally unstable interior decorator. Now, why does color matter? Scientists believe these bright displays help signal health, intelligence, effort, resource-gathering ability, and freedom from predators. In simpler terms, if this bird has enough free time to arrange decorative shells by color coordination, he is probably doing fairly well in life. Eventually, females arrive to inspect the display. And when I say inspect, I mean inspect. They examine symmetry, cleanliness, object placement, display quality, male behavior, and dance performance. This is part architecture review, part talent competition, and part psychological warfare. Because once she arrives, the male performs. He spreads his wings, jumps around dramatically, makes sounds, presents objects like a luxury salesman moments before financial collapse. Imagine inviting someone into your apartment and immediately breakdancing beside handcrafted furniture. Confidence level, deeply concerning. And the rejection rate, brutal. If the female is unimpressed, she simply leaves. No explanation, no closure, no feedback form, no opportunity for appeal. This male may have spent weeks preparing, rejected in 4 seconds. Nature looked at this system and calmly said, females have standards. And remarkably, the drama does not end there. Some males steal decorations from neighboring bowers. Yes, organized avian theft. Imagine waking up only to discover your premium decorative shells have vanished because your rival required stronger staging. Some males even destroy competitors' bowers entirely. nature's first documented case of romantic corporate espionage. Interestingly, young males often spend years practicing before becoming successful, which means even birds understand one timeless truth: game requires experience. Final verdict: the Bowerbird proves something humanity learned long ago. Looks help, but presentation is everything. Number 2, the Praying Mantis. Dating on nightmare difficulty. Now we arrive at the animal kingdom's answer to the phrase, "This relationship could literally kill me." The male praying mantis approaches the female with extraordinary caution, because in some species, the female may attack and consume him before, during, or after mating. Yes, this is entirely real. No metaphor, no exaggeration, no toxic dating podcast analogy, just raw evolutionary horror. Now, naturally, one might ask, why would evolution allow such a system? Simple. Egg production requires enormous energy, and if consuming the male improves reproductive success, nature considers that an acceptable trade. Cold logic. Terrifying romance. Imagine evolution calmly saying, the date was expensive, but efficient. Naturally, the male approaches with care, very slowly, painfully slowly. He freezes, advances, freezes again. Every movement matters, because if the female mistakes him for prey, the situation ends immediately. The male has effectively entered stealth mode. Timing also becomes critically important. Some males attempt mating while the female is distracted eating another insect. That is correct. He witnesses complete chaos and decides, this seems like my opportunity. An astonishing example of opportunistic optimism. Now, importantly, not every mantis mating ends in cannibalism. That is a common misconception. It depends on species, environment, stress, captivity, food availability, and the female's hunger level. However, the mere possibility changes everything. Even a small chance of being devoured creates one of nature's highest pressure romantic encounters, and somehow it becomes even stranger. There are documented cases where mating behavior continues even after catastrophic injury because insect nervous systems function very differently from mammals. Nature occasionally behaves like experimental science fiction. Now, what exactly do females prefer? Healthy movement, correct species signals, proper positioning. No motivational quote on social media could possibly prepare you for this environment. Final verdict: the praying mantis male is either fearless, extraordinarily committed, or catastrophically optimistic. Number 3, the deer. The annual war for love. Every year, male deer enter mating season, a period known simply as the rut. And during the rut, calm woodland herbivores transform into aggressive chaos engines fueled entirely by hormones and terrible decision-making. Patience disappears, aggression rises, logic quietly exits the forest. What happens first? The males begin displaying dominance. They roar, grunt, scrape the earth, mark territory, posture dramatically, patrol constantly. For several weeks each year, the forest effectively becomes a massive outdoor nightclub for emotionally unstable athletes. And then there are the antlers. Antlers are extremely expensive to grow. They require enormous amounts of nutrients, minerals, and energy. Large symmetrical antlers may signal health, strength, genetic quality, and survival ability. So when a massive stag walks into the clearing carrying an enormous antler crown, he is essentially arriving covered in biological luxury jewelry. Months of investment, minimal emotional regulation, and eventually, the fights begin. Two males approach carefully. They size one another up. Then suddenly, impact. Antlers collide, bodies strain, muscles twist. Each attempts to overpower the other through brute force and endurance. Sometimes one retreats quickly. Other times, The battle becomes violent, injuries happen, exhaustion happens, occasionally far worse, all for mating access. Forest UFC is not merely real, it is seasonal. Now, interestingly, despite the fighting, females are not passive prizes in this system. Female choice still matters greatly. They may prefer stronger males, healthier appearance, dominant territory holders, experience, persistence, or maturity, which means brute force alone is not enough. Even deep in the wilderness, standards exist. And the cost of rut season? Extraordinary. Many males barely eat during this period because they are too busy competing. They lose weight, become exhausted, accumulate wounds, burn through massive energy reserves. By the end of the season, some appear spiritually defeated. The male has skipped nutrition, recovery, and rational thought for romance. And then suddenly, the madness ends, hormones fall, energy crashes. Later, many species shed their antlers entirely before regrowing them the following year. Imagine uninstalling your weapons every winter for system maintenance. Nature remains deeply committed to dramatic storytelling, and naturally, there are always opportunists. Some younger males linger around the territory edges, waiting for small openings and sneaky chances. A strategy best described as side character energy. Final verdict: the deer teaches us that competition is dramatic, expensive, violent, and somehow renewed every single year. Evolution invented ranked mode, and then reset the leaderboard annually. Number 4, the penguin. The wholesome engineers. After decorative obsession, romantic cannibalism, and seasonal forest warfare, we require emotional recovery. Fortunately, nature provides penguins. Some penguin species are known for using stones and pebbles during courtship and nest construction, most famously Adelie penguins. And yes, offering stones may help strengthen pair bonding. Now, at first glance, this may sound underwhelming, until one understands the engineering involved. Penguins often nest on rocky terrain, exposed to freezing temperatures, melting snow, and water. A properly constructed pebble nest helps elevate eggs above cold, wet surfaces, which means better drainage, less freezing water contact, and improved insulation. So the pebble is not random. It is useful, practical romance, frankly, refreshing. Naturally, males spend considerable time searching for quality stones. Correct size, correct shape, proper durability. The male has effectively become a contractor with emotional intentions. Then comes the presentation. The pebble is offered carefully, and if accepted, the bond may strengthen. Imagine attempting seduction through structural integrity, oddly mature behavior. Of course, this is still nature, which means theft remains inevitable. Other penguins frequently steal pebbles from neighboring nests. Apparently, no species is truly free from property crime. Picture 2 elegant tuxedo birds screaming at one another over gravel. Civilization is fragile. Now, compared to our praying mantis example, penguin relationships appear remarkably stable. Many species form seasonal pair bonds. Some reunite across multiple years. Many cooperate in raising chicks. Communication, shared construction, mutual effort, elite couple behavior, and they accomplish all of this while surviving freezing winds, brutal storms, and collapsing ice environments, still demonstrating more emotional reliability than a surprising percentage of humanity. And perhaps most impressively, penguin parents often take turns protecting eggs or chicks while the other searches for food. Actual teamwork, a concept increasingly endangered elsewhere in nature. Final verdict? Penguins remind us that romance does not always require spectacle. Sometimes love is simply reliability, effort, shared suffering, and bringing someone a genuinely useful rock. So, what have we learned today? The Bowerbird teaches us that presentation matters. The mantis teaches us to evaluate risk carefully. The deer reminds us that competition is exhausting. And the penguin, well, the penguin reminds us that stability may be the rarest form of Rizz. Nature has no dating applications, and yet somehow it is still invented. Luxury homes, combat tournaments, psychological warfare, ambush romance, and pebble-based marriage proposals. Disturbing, beautiful, but disturbing. Tell me, which animal possesses the greatest Rizz? And if you wish to continue studying nature's finest romantic catastrophes, subscribe to Wild Rizz. I am Sir Nigel Wingman, and trust me, the wild has only just begun.